Okay, guys, welcome to the class. We are talking about Introduction to Java. What is Java? Java is basically object-oriented programming language, which means what? Which means that it follows object-oriented principles. There are different kind of principles like inheritance, abstraction, interface, so on and so forth. So we have to learn these different object-oriented principles in order to ideally learn the Java. And using these different principles, you will know what kind of concepts to be used in which particular situation. Okay. There are three main components of Java: Java Virtual Machine, Java Runtime Environment, and Java Development Kit. Okay. So what is JVM? JVM is basically a concept, something that is sitting on top of your operating system. Your operating system is a Mac, it can be Windows, it can be Linux, whatever it is. Java Virtual Machine sits on top of it, right? The main stuff the Java Virtual Machine is basically doing for us is basically helping us to execute the compiled version of the program. What is a compiled version? It means that when you are writing a piece of code, okay, you need to compile it into something called as bytecode. Why? Because whatever you are writing is not understandable by the machine. So if you are not able to make it understand, then machine is not going to execute it. Machine will never understand whatever you're writing in a simple English format. So machine means what? Our laptop, our desktop, it is basically an electronics device. It's an electronic device, which means that it understands only 0 and 1, whether it is a switch on or switch off, right? So by creating a combination of these 1 and zeros, you're basically creating a command, and that command is supposed to be executed by the machine, in this case, Java Virtual Machine, right? So source file is something that you will write in a simple English format. Obviously, you have to follow certain syntax that is predefined by Java, or every programming language is having their own syntax. So you have to basically follow them, and you have to write a piece of code, okay? And then what you do, you compile it. You compile it with another tool. In Java, we have a tool called as Java-C, right? Java compiler, Java-C is a tool that comes along when you install JDK in your system, Java Development Kit. When you install that, Java-C comes along with it. And then what happens is you are converting a source file to a bytecode file. So you will see there will be a proper transformation. That means when you are creating the source file will be created with .java extension, okay? .java extension. And when you compile it, it becomes .class extension. And I will get it done for you, and you will see what exactly I mean. So when it becomes a .class extension, that is where Java is now ready to run the program and get you an output. Now, the point is this strategy of compiling is common with every programming language. It's just not Java. In Java, we are basically having this tool called as Java-C for JavaScript, for Python, for any other language, C#. They have different other tools to get this compilation done, but everybody goes through the same structure. Okay, so as I said, Java Virtual Machine will let you execute that. Okay, it's an abstraction, it's a concept that will let you execute a class file in the system, right? So let's move on to the next part, which is what is JRE. All right, so JRE is basically something that holds JVM. Okay, when you are installing Java in your system, you will see that it comes along with different libraries. What is library? Library is basically a very simple thing. People like you and me has created a lot of programs, a lot of code, which they have compiled or packaged into something called as library. I'll show you how it is done. Okay, so basically the libraries are coming pre-installed with Java runtime environment. There are two different things that you can basically install. If you're installing Java 8, okay, you will see that there are two different things you can install. Back then, when Java 8 was popular, we had two different things to install. One is called JRE and JDK. Right now, that difference is gone. If you're installing Java 17, Java 19, there is only one package that you install, and that is the package that will basically be installed for everyone, globally. You don't have to install JRE or JDK. Why JRE and JDK is coming in the picture? Because JRE is just a runtime environment. It will have the libraries predefined set of tools. When you are installing JRE, it will come with these certain libraries that will let you run a particular program. Okay, because it has got JVM built into it. JVM is again a part of the library. Okay, so basically this is JRE. Now there is a reason why there was two different set of installation packages for Java back then, JRE and JDK. There were a reason, and the reason was quite valid, right? So let me just explain that to you. So this is JRE. Let me clear the screen and I will quickly take you to the next slide, which is JDK. Why do I need JDK then? Okay, Java Development Kit. Why do I need that? Now, JDK is something that is built with JRE and few dev tools. Now, the dev tools are Java C is a dev tool that comes along with JDK package out of the box. Why it is important? It is important because of the next slide. Let me go here and let me explain this to you. Think about it. You are a developer and you have a client. Okay, the client is paying you to develop a particular software, right? Now, what happens is client really do not bother how are you creating the program. Okay, the client is only bothered about executing the program. In this picture, you can very well see that the developer is basically developing the application under Windows, and client is trying to execute the same program in Mac. There are two different operating systems. Okay, so what developer will do is this. Developer will install JDK, build a Java program. It will compile the Java program, which will eventually turn the Java file into a .class file. This is the compiled version of the program, correct? This class file is now given to the client as it is. Client uses JRE to execute the program. Client is not bothered of .java file because .java file is the file that holds the actual code. Client is not bothered about that. Client is just bothered about executing it, right? So this is the task of the developer to write the source code, compile it to .class file, and give this class file to the client. and the client can execute it, right? Now, because of this reason, way back in Java 8 era, we were having two different type of packages for installation. One was JRE, just for the client purpose. You want to execute it, just install JRE. You don't have to bother about anything else. Developer will install JDK that will anyway come along with JRE, right? So this is the basic understanding that you should have, like why JDK, what is JVM, and what is JRE, right? In this process, there is also one thing that you should be understanding is that Java is actually a platform independent language. What do I mean by that? Just understand this. The developer is developing the application in Windows system. Okay, so this guy has installed JDK for Windows, correct? And this guy is the client who is installing JRE for Mac, correct? JRE for Mac. So the point is that how is that possible that a program that is written in Windows is something that can be executed in Mac? How is that possible? It is possible because, as I said, this guy has created the code in .java format. He created the code in .java file, right? And compiled it to .class file. Okay? When you have a compiled version of your program, that means you have all the combination of 0 and 1, then it doesn't matter which operating system is actually executing it. Why? Because the JRE of Mac is now responsible to execute the .class file, which means Java is platform independent, correct? Whatever and however, in whichever environment you write it, you can execute it in any other environment. Okay, few very easy things to understand. Good stuff. So let's move on. Just stop me whenever you have a question, raise your hand or unmute yourself, and you can ask me a question. Actually, rather you can, raise your hand. I will let you unmute, and then we can talk. Okay. Okay. So let's move on and understand this in the action. So I just wanted to show you how you can create a .java file. It is very simple to create a .java file, right? So I'll just quickly go to my, okay, just a minute. I'm going to create a new terminal here. Okay. This is my Mac file, but that's no problem. I'm going to quickly create a terminal here. Let me increase the font of it. And let's try to understand something. So PWD, this is the location where I am right now. Let me go to another location, CD. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm here now. What I'll do is I will quickly create a file. Okay. So how do I create a file in Mac? You can create a file in Windows very easily. Right click on the desktop and just create a text file, right? I'm not doing that here in Mac. In Mac, I'm going to use a specific editor. It's called VI editor. Okay, so VI, I'm going to give a name of this file, say test Java. Okay, test Java.java. I'm just creating a file, VI test Java.java. You can create a file like that, or you can do on Yeah, I think this is fine. Just say test java.java, right? Now, if I hit enter, this is basically the text editor in which you can write some program, correct? So what I'm going to write here is a very simple program. I'm going to say public class, right? And the name of the file was testjava.java. So I'll give the name of the class as testjava. Okay. Whatever I'm writing here is a syntax which you will, get comfortable with when you start practicing. When you start practicing along with me, when you start watching the video and whatever I'm doing in the video, you're trying to follow that and you're trying to mimic me in the video. And when you're trying to do the assignments, you have to practice. It's all about muscle memory. Do not think that just by watching the video or attending the class, you will be able to master this. So please put in the hard work. So public, okay, static void main. Public static void main is a syntax again, and there's a significance to it, which I will explain at a later stage, right? Main is basically a method. Again, what is a method? You don't know. I understand that. I will explain later stage. But for now, just follow my, keystroke. So string array args, and here I am basically creating a simple method. In a nutshell, just try to understand that I'm creating a class named as testjava. Within this class, there is a method. The method is a main method. Method means what? Within this block that you see here, right? This curly braces, between this curly braces, whatever I write is going to be executed by the Java. Why it is doing that? There's a reason behind it, okay? The reason is that JVM is looking for this main method to trigger the execution. That is how it has been designed, okay? So don't worry, I will explain this in more details later on. But for now, I'm just going to say sysout or system.out.println. Basically, I'm saying print a line and give a name. And what do you print in the line, right? So I'm just saying, say welcome to Wisdom QA. Something like that, okay? And I finish this line with a semicolon. That's it. That's my simple Java file, correct? Now, what I'll do is I will quickly save this file. And I can do a quick cat. Cat means I'm just trying to understand if the file has been written properly. So I'm saying cat testjava.java, and I can still see this syntax here, which means everything is fine. Now, what I can do is I can perform the next step, which is I'm going to use a compiler. So you see in my system, I have Java installed already. You can see Java 19 is here. And I'm going to use Java-C, the compiler, in order to compile this guy here. Test java.java, enter. And I compiled. Okay, it will not give you any output, but it has been compiled. How do you know it has been compiled? Because if I do a ls-al, which means I'm trying to list what is here in this dev work folder, you can do that in Windows by the command dir. It's very, very simple. Or you can open the folder and you can see. When you do that, you will ideally see that there is indeed dev work. You see that? testjava.class got created. This file I didn't create. Java was able to create it on its own. Let me see what is the content of that file. I can very well see that by using cat command again. Cat testjava.class. and I want to see what is the content of that particular file. And look at the content. Do you understand anything? You don't. It's gibberish. This is something that is understandable by the Java engine, but not us. Correct? You see that? Question mark, something. This is a compiled version. Rebecca, please go on. You have a question?
Yes, please. Can you please start the process again? I seem to be lost somewhere.
Okay. Which part you have not understood? The compilation part or the code part?
The code part. I got the compilation part. I got it to the system out println. Welcome to Wisdom QA. Yeah, and from then I got lost. I'm using Windows. I'm using Notepad. Is that okay?
There is no problem at all. You can use any operating system. In the Windows, you will simply write this file in a text file, right?
Yeah.
And then you convert that to a extension .java.
How do I do that?
Okay, so this is the syntax. You don't have to code along with me. If you do that, you will not really understand the concept. This class is to basically clear the concept and clear your doubts. Don't try to write the code along with me, because I'll be faster than you, and you will be like trying to figure it out how to match up with me. That will not be the right way to do. You understand what I'm trying to do, focus in this part, and ask me questions if you are not able to understand what is really happening. So what is really happening here is very simple. I've created a file called as testjava.java, and I have created a class called as public class testjava. Whatever the name of the file is, I have created the class exactly with the same name. That is how it should be. And then I've written a method here called public static void main with a parameter, which is an array of strings. And I'm just saying, print out this line. Okay. Once I'm done with this, I said, let's compile it. So I did a compilation using Java-C, and this did compile the file to .class file. And when that happened, now I'm in a situation that I can run the class file directly. I don't even have to give the extension of the file. I don't have to say .class. I just say Java testjava, because that is the class compiled file that I have created so far. So if I run this, you can see this got printed, meaning the program that I wrote, it was successfully compiled, and then it was successfully executed. So whatever I just said a minute back in this particular situation is exactly what happened. The developer created a .java file, compiled into .class file, and executed that. The same class file that I showed you here can be given to you right now. The .class file, I can send it to you right now, and you can run the program from your operating system without any problem. That is why it is saying it is platform independent programming language. Make sense? Everybody? Give me a thumbs up or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Good stuff. Let's move on to the next part, which is Java installation and configuration. I suppose every one of you have already done that, so I'm not really going to show anything here in this case. Make sure that you add the Java home environment variable in your environment path. You can do it with Mac or Windows. There are two different ways. If you have followed my email, I think, or basically the class video, we have mentioned that in the class video, how to do it. So that's that. Next thing is installing Eclipse IDE. Why IDE? Because nobody will ever write the program the way I wrote a minute back using a text, using a terminal, right? Nobody will write it like that. You will be writing it in an IDE, IDE meaning integrated development environment, because you have to understand that you are not going to write only one particular file. You will be dealing with thousands of files, right? It is not possible for you to handle them with a terminal, okay? So we have to install IDE for that. Hassan, you have a question, please go on.
Yeah, just is it important to use Eclipse or can we use like IntelliJ? Because I already have
You
that
can
installed.
use
But...
anything.
Okay, no
Yeah,
worries.
it's all the same. Yeah.
Thank you.
So because the videos that I've recorded is in Eclipse, I am trying to follow the same tool here, okay? So what we will do is Eclipse, let me just open this up. Okay. When you open the Eclipse for the first time, you basically will see a welcome screen, and you will see a bunch of different layouts in the screen, right? You can see there I'm saying outline, I'm saying debug, expression, a lot of things, right? You may not want to keep them in the same format because they are not really important, and I want you to really focus on the middle section and the left section. The rest of the things can be ignored for now. So just cross them out. You don't need this debug, not expression, correct? Good stuff. So let's just do one thing. I am going to delete this project that I have, and I'm going to create a new Java project from the beginning, and then I will start it from there, okay? So how do you create a project here in the Eclipse? In the left-hand side, say File, correct? New Java project, correct? Or you can just right-click on this. No, in Mac it doesn't work. I think in Windows it does, but you can click on this create a Java project, but this link will be valid only for the first time. The best way to do it is File, New Java project, right? You click on this and you will see this particular window pops up. In IDE, always remember that for doing certain tasks, you will be presented by different kind of wizards, right? Wizards to create a class, wizards to create a package, wizards to create a project, something like that. So this is a wizard, right? Which is letting you create a project. So what am I saying here? I'm saying week 1 summary class, correct? That's my project name, simple. And then I can basically choose which is the minimum version that I require to run this project. I can choose that right from here in this section called JRE. It says use an execution environment JRE, meaning which is the environment that you want to choose in order to execute your program. Correct? The minimum version. In my system, I have 19. I can say, I want to choose, say, I don't know, maybe 11. Okay? That's the minimum Java version you need to have in your system in order to execute this program. Now, how these versions are different. So listen, the point is very simple. It is exactly how you have seen or you have experienced software. Different versions comes with different feature, correct? Now, if you are writing a program that is using a particular feature for Java 11 and above, and then you are giving this, class file or giving this package, when you create the whole project, you create it as a package, and you give this package to your client, and the client is using version 8, then obviously client will not be able to execute the program because the program has used certain feature that was developed beyond Java 11, correct? So you have to keep that in mind. So anyway, you just say this here, create a Java project, and just a finish, and it takes a second, and you just got the project created, Okay. Project is not something that is like coming out of thin air. Project is basically a simple folder, a simple directory. There is nothing hocus pocus in this. Okay. If you open this guy, you will see a few things. You will see two things rather. One is source folder, SRC. If you open this, expand this, then there is something called as a module info.java. Actually, I should have removed this. Let me actually remove this. Okay. I don't need this module info.java. Okay. And I have another file. It's called JRE system library. Okay. JRE system library is the same library that I was talking to you about some time back. When you're installing Java in your system, you're coming up, the Java itself is loaded, preloaded with these libraries. What are these libraries? Libraries are nothing but a collection of jar files. Jar means Java archive. And what does that mean? It means that people like you and me, have spent countless hours to create Java files, compile them into .class files, and package them into a jar file. So what did I say? They have written the code in a Java file, compile them to a class file, and package them, multiple class files. They have packaged them into a jar file. And I can prove that to you by simply expanding one of these jar files. The jar file name is called java.base. If you open this file, you can see that there are these boxes. Boxes are basically packages. If you open any one of this package, you will see there is class file. There are two class files. Similarly, there are class files, thousands and 100,000 class files. So basically, somebody like you and me is sitting there, creating the files, converting them to class file, packaging them into a jar file, and then with multiple jar files, they are building one library. Correct? So what is the significance in this? Why am I talking about libraries? I'm talking about libraries because you will see in some time that your code, your project that you're going to build is not only dependent on this one pre-inbuilt library. The idea is simple. The idea is that if I need to build a rocket, I will probably try to find out different manufacturer to provide me with a different ingredient, right? Similarly, if I'm trying to create a program, it's not the case that everything will be with me right there. I have to basically import certain tools from third party and use it in my program. This keyword called import is very important, and you will see us using this over and over and over again. Correct? So anyways, we will get there. But for now, this is the initial setup of our project. Under source file folder, there is nothing right now. I'm creating a new folder called new, and I will give a name. I will create a package, and let me create this package called as core package, right? Remember, the package name should be always in lowercase. That's a common standard, right? So finish, and I created a core package. Good. So now what do? I'm going to say in the core package, you can see this core package is right now white in color, right? I can add a class inside this core package. How can I do it? I can say new class. Again, a wizard pops up. right? This widget says that let's look at the what is it saying? It's saying week 1 summary class is the name of the project. Under that project, there is a SRC folder. Under that SRC folder, there is a package called as core. And within the core package, you're trying to create a class. And the name of the class, let's say test main. Okay, class name should be always starting with a capital letter, and you can basically make it as a test main. Don't give any gap. There is no gap in between two words, right? Keep that in mind always. So test main, and that's it. And then you can check this box called as public static void main. You can check this box and say finish. When you do it, you will see the code, the initial code is written for us. This is what the beauty of an IDE. Just not this, but there are many, many more things that IDE will help us, which we will see in the future classes. So this is the simple test main class that got created. Now, what is this class all about? Here you can see this double slash. It means it's a comment. So I'm just going to remove them. So what is this class all about? Basically the same class, exactly what I showed you earlier. Here, there is only one extra sentence that you can see here. It's called package. Package core. What does it mean? It means very simple. It means test main class is within the core package. And that's true. There's a core package, and that's where it is, right? Good stuff. Let's write a simple program again. I'm going to print out something, correct? So in Eclipse or in any IDE, you have different shortcuts. So I say SYSO, and I hit Control and space, and that creates it for me, correct? So now I can say, welcome to Wisdom QA. Fine. And I save this file, and then I can execute this file. How? Right click on the Java file. Because it's a main file, because it has a main method, I can right click on this Java file and I can say run as Java application. Look at these options. Right click on the Java file, run as Java application. This option will be only and only valid or only displayed to you if the class that you're trying to execute is having a main method. Otherwise, you will not be seeing that option called as run as Java application. Okay, so run as Java application, and I run this. When I do, you will see that it prints out something for me. The question is, okay, I was able to print it out, but in earlier situation, we saw that to execute this particular file, we require to compile this file to make it a .class file. We are not doing anything of that sort here. So in that case, how is this actually working? Let's take a look at the project itself, meaning let's take a little deep dive into this project folder, okay? We'll do a right click on this file and we'll say show, or where is this guy? Show in System Explorer, okay? You have the same option in Windows as well. You click on this and that basically gives you this folder. It takes you to this particular folder, okay? Week 1 summary class. If you open this file folder, you will see that there are two folders ideally. One is SRC and one is bin, okay? We can see SRC, we are not seeing bin. Let's open the SRC. SRC, there is a package, which is nothing but a folder again, core. Within that, I have a .java file. You see, type, kind, Java, right? That's a Java file. Now let's go back to the bin folder. Let's open this up, core, and you can see that bin is basically a mirror image of the source file, source folder. If you open this bin, you have a core package. If you open the core, you have a test main.class. So somebody in the background has converted the .java file to a .class file. Somebody has done that for us, correct? Who is doing this for us? Eclipse is taking that initiative, ideally. Eclipse is saying, okay, let me compile this and get a .class file created as soon as somebody hits Control Save, Control S. As soon as you do that, it basically compiles in the background. If there is any compilation problem, for example, let's say system, you're writing some text, system.out, okay, and I'm saying save. When I'm doing this, Eclipse is not compiling it any further. Why? Let's prove this to you. If I go to the show in System Explorer, this should not be. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, exactly. This file will have, the source folder will have the actual value open with, say, text edit. Yeah, it will have this value, but nothing is actually compiled that is going to create a .class file. We can actually compare the timing, I suppose. Let me just quickly try that. So System Explorer, we saved this file for 1651, correct? Let's go and take a look at bin core. Yeah, 1651, but this should not be the case, right? Not sure why it is getting compiled. It should not be compiling because at the end of the day, I am letting it fail right there. But anyways, what's happening here is that we are basically getting a compilation error. System.out, okay, is not a full syntax. So there is an error, and you see syntax error. Eclipse is clearly telling me that there is a problem. To complete the local variable declaration statement, insert a semicolon. Even if I do that, it is not going to be satisfied because this line doesn't make sense to the system, correct? So there are two different types of error, guys. Try to always remember. One is a compilation error, okay? Compilation error. Another one is a runtime error, correct? Compilation error and runtime error. Compilation error is a example that I gave it to you. You are doing something wrong in the syntax and your compilation itself failed. That's compilation error. Runtime error is something that will not be failed during compilation. So system.out.println, and I can very well do something like this. I can say, I want to divide 1 by 0, right? The code that I wrote here looks perfectly fine. No problem at all. And if I quickly save this, all the errors are gone, right? I can go and run this. And you will see that I'm getting a runtime exception now, or an error, which is basically saying me that I cannot divide 1 by 0. That's not possible, correct? So two types of errors, compilation and runtime. Why am I saying this? Because when you are getting started to write programming for the first time ever, you will be doing a lot of syntactical mistakes. When you're doing a syntactical mistakes, your program will not compile, your program will not run. I don't want you to, panic. I want you to really look at your code. Do not try to memorize your code. Try to understand what you're writing. At the initial stage, it will be kind of a, you have to kind of mug it up, to be very true. You have to know that what to write after system and what to write after out to really make this syntax work. But eventually it will become a practice, and then eventually you will understand the significance of every of these keywords, right? It is not a rocket science. You have to put the time that is required. Okay. So anyways, so this is the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Let's quickly move on to Eclipse is done. Let's check out a basic Java program. Okay, I did that. Okay, that's fine. This is the first presentation over. Okay, let me move on to the next session, which is not from here, but I'll go to the week 1 class 2, and under this Google Drive, let's look at the class presentations. Okay. So then we have to understand a few things now. Creating a class with a main method. Okay, I did show you that, how to create a class with a main method. Class is created with a project src, right click and choose a new class. We have done that. Node.java file is created and the name of the file is matching to the name of the class. Obviously, you have seen that here very well. Whatever the name of the class is, the Java file will have the same name. That is how the rule is, right? And then what else you have? And note the class contains a main method, correct? Because that's from where you want to start the execution. So JVM is looking for exactly, okay, let me prove that to you as well. JVM is actually looking for exactly this line, this entire thing, public static void main, which is a method. Under this, there is a parameter string argument args. They're exactly looking for this line. Okay, I can prove that to you by copying and pasting the same exact syntax. Okay, all I will do is I will remove this parameter section. So right now there is an error. When you have an error, guys, when you have an error, don't panic. Hover your mouse on the error to figure it out. What's the problem? The problem here is very understandable. Duplicate method main within test main. So it's saying very clearly within the test main class, there are 2 duplicate methods, which means that everything is identical. Something that is not allowed here. Okay, what can I do? I can keep the name of the method as same, main, but I'm going to quickly remove this args section. As soon as I do it, the error is gone, correct? So I'm just going to say, welcome to Wisdom QA, and I'll say duplicate, correct? Now, what I was saying is, I'm saying that Java virtual machine is looking for only this method to print, to actually run the program, right? So if I am running this program now, you will clearly see that exactly is true, because I am getting this printout here. I am not getting this one. Very simple. So JVM is only looking for this particular format. Keep that in mind. If I'm creating another class, look, again, core, new class, and I will just say test main 2. Okay, I cannot keep, okay, one more thing. You see, if I'm keeping 2 class names same, it clearly says type already exists, meaning there is already a class with the same name. You cannot keep again. You cannot make another class with the same name. So I'm just giving another, attaching another value to it. So test main 2, and this time I'm not adding any main method. All right, I'll just say finish. Okay, now what I'll do is, look, this main method that I have, which is not the actual main method, is a duplicate method. I'll just cut it and paste it here. Right now, I will try to right click on this and run it, run as, and you see that option is not there anymore. Run as Java application is not there anymore. Here, I do have that option. Run as Java application is there, correct? That's the difference. Okay, always keep that in mind. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Simple create to add numbers. Okay, so yeah, we can create that. We will actually understand a little bit more in terms of adding or understanding a main method. Okay, and at the same time, I will also create a program to run or add multiple numbers. So what is this? Main method is having few different type of keywords attached to it. Public, static, void, main, and then arguments. You can clearly see public means access specifier, meaning what? Meaning this method can be basically accessed from anywhere within the project or even outside of the project. I can prove that to you as well, that you can access this main method from a different project altogether, right? I can show that to you. But for now, public is the keyword that specified it, right? I will talk about access specifier more in detail later on, but for now, just try to understand the keywords. So public is basically the access specifier. Static is a keyword. This keyword will let you interact with a method using static properties. I understand whatever I'm saying right now sounds kind of vague. Totally get that. But unless you really understand what is the difference between static and dynamic, it's hard for me to really explain this. So just keep this in mind. That's a keyword that we use. Void is a return type, meaning what? Meaning this main method is not supposed to return back any value. Okay, in generally, when you create a method, right? For example, let me just show this to you in the program. So this is a main method, right? Public static void main. There are two different methods. This is the duplicate one, and this is the original one. Correct? Now I can do something. I can basically say this main method. I can say I want to return back an integer. So instead of void, I say int. Okay, and I can say the value as return some value 100. So basically what happens is when the method gets invoked, whatever is within the method gets executed, and everything from line 6 to line 13 gets executed without any problem, then line 14 is going to return 100 to the caller of the main method. So basically what we can do is we can call this main method from another class. And when I call that main method from another class or from another method, then the caller will receive this value 100. We will talk about that in the method section in a better way. But for now, let's go back to this section here. So return type, okay? And main is the name of the method. And this part, arguments. Arguments means what? Arguments is, okay, arguments within a method means that it is basically a way you are sending some data from outside into the method. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to send some information. Let me try to draw this to you. It's trying to send some information through this argument within the actual main method, so that whatever is within the main method can actually access this. And let me prove this to you. What I'll do is, so basically this guy here, the argument type that you see here, which is pretty much fixed for main method. It has to be a string array, right? This argument is something that I'm going to use now and send some information from outside into the main method. Okay, it's an array. What is an array? For now, you can think of is array is is an entity that can store multiple values within a variable. Obviously, the question comes, what is a variable? I will explain in a minute. But the point is that you are allowed to store multiple information, multiple data of the same type under one single entity. Okay? That is an array, ideally. So the point is that what exactly I'm trying to do? What I'm trying to do is, let me clear the drawing here. Now let me go back to the Eclipse and the actual main method. And let me remove everything, every garbage. So this is an array. Think about it, that this array is basically going to look something like this. It's going to contain multiple different names. So I'll say Sai, then Hassan, then Afi, then Christy, right? Dean, so on and so forth, correct? So all these names, basically, they're different names. I am trying to pass these names as an argument inside the main method. All these names will be passed into the main method, and then the main method, within the main method, I can do some magic to print this name against this statement. So I can say, welcome Sai to Wisdom QA, welcome Hassan to Wisdom QA, so on and so forth. So what do I need here? Always remember, when you are writing a program, okay, always try to have a plan of action. What exactly do you think it requires for me to really get this job done? You see, I have to deal with 5 different names. It can be 5, it can be 10, it can be 20. So you need to write a system or a program in such a way that you can handle any number of names. So when I'm saying it is not a fixed count, then there has to be something that can keep on repeating, some kind of a system that can keep on repeating unless you have covered all those values. You've started from Sai and you have gone to Dean or even beyond, depending on how many ever names you have. You want to perform some action that keeps on repeating, because there's this values, these numbers can be dynamic. It's not static. So what is the plan of action? First thing we understand the keyword repeat. In Java, we have the system pre-built. It's called loop. Loop can let me do repetitive tasks. There are different kind of loops available. In this, I'm going to keep a very simple loop, for loop. There are different kind of loops available. Actually, I'll use a for each loop, okay? And with the for each loop, you will see that how many ever number of names I pass in, I will be able to construct that sentence saying, welcome, Sai, to Wisdom QA. How can I do that? Let's go on. So very simple, ideally, I'm going to write this program. It's a syntax again, for, it's a for each loop, all right? I'll just quickly put a comment here. It's a for each loop. Okay. So for each loop requires only one thing to understand, that these informations that you are trying to process or repeat which data type they belong to. Correct? So right now we can very well understand that these are characters and words. So if they are characters and words, then this should be under string data type. In Java, we have string data type. So I'm going to quickly say string, correct? And then I'm going to say name. Okay, that's a variable, colon. And this args is basically the attribute which is holding all these values. So that's my simple loop. That's it. What am I saying? Whatever the values are here, it will simply be passed on to this loop one by one. The loop will keep on repeating until the last name is considered. And when the loop is actually repeating, then within the loop, I can construct my sentence, something like this. So I will use a concatenation operator. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this whole sentence into two parts and add a variable in between. So something like this, I'm going to break it down. You see, I just broke it down. So this is one part and this is another part, right? If I add a plus in between, then the error will be gone, which means that I'm just adding the first part with the second part. It's a concatenation operator. When I'm working with a string, the plus doesn't mean an actual arithmetic operation. It means it's a concatenation operation. Okay. So as a part of this concatenation operation, then I'm going to say, I'm going to give another plus, and then within this 2 plus, I'm going to add this variable. So what does it mean? The whole value will be constructed. Welcome name, the name is Sai, to Wisdom QA. Welcome Hassan to Wisdom QA. Keep on repeating until all the names are done. Okay. Now the question is, this program will work. No problem. But the question is, how will I supply these data? Okay. How will I supply this data? So I have saved this file. Let me save this file. Let me save this file too. Okay. So how do I supply this information to this main method? So when I saved it, as you know, what will happen? What will happen is that it will get compiled, correct? So show in System Explorer, bin core java main.class. That's what it's compiled. Totally fine. So somehow I have to run this program. And when I run this program, I can supply the data while execution. So I will try to access this from my terminal. What I'll do is I will open the terminal in the same location where I have my project, correct? So basically show in terminal, okay? I can do that. I can open a terminal right here as well. So this is the same location. You can see pwd, print working directory. That is the directory where I am in, no problem at all. And here I can just test if I am having the access to the Java version. Obviously, I'm going to have access to it because Java is installed globally in my system because I've set it from my environment variable, right? So what is the next thing? The next thing is simple. I want to run this compiled version. Okay, so where can I go? I can go to the bin folder, right? ls-al, that is the bin folder, .bin. So cd bin. Under the bin, I have a core, and that is the location. So ls-al, meaning dir in Windows. And I have these two files, class files, correct? So clear. I want to run the class file. So I'll just say Java test main, don't have to say .class. And then I can basically give the names that I want to use. So Sai, Hassan, Afi, Dean, who else we have? Ellen, right? And hit enter. So what is the problem here? No class definition found error. No class definition found error. Wrong name. Test main. .java. No, this is the right name. Let's see if this works. No. Okay. I'm not sure if the bin location core. Yeah, this is fine. This should ideally work because it's a class file. Let me try something. Not from the terminal, but I want to try something. I want to basically go into the project file, run menu. So run configuration. Okay. In the run configuration, I have this test main Java application, correct? Within this, I'm going to say arguments and VM arguments, right? And let's get the value here, Sai Hassan, and run. Class not found. Okay. I think I'm not configuring it the right way. Just a minute. It is Sai and Hassan. Yeah. I was able to print them out. But the confusion is that, is it because I am arguments, program arguments? This should be, it could be a situation that this class file was built by Eclipse, and that's the reason why it is probably not letting me interact with it directly, and it is saying class not found. Maybe because otherwise there is no other difference between this one and the other one. You can see that I'm passing on two different names, Sai and Hassan, and I can say Afi and Ellen and Dean, right? So all these names I am passing as an argument or program argument, and these values are being accessed to the main method, and then finally it is getting printed. So if I run this again, this should print all of them, correct? But the same thing should have happened from the terminal as well. I have to look into it why that didn't trigger. Okay, so you understand why this argument is here, why this array is here. This array is here so that you can pass on multiple values to it. If you are removing this array, if you're just saying it's a string args, then it is not the actual main method. A main method should be always having an array argument. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right. So let's move on to another part, which is the scope. Okay. Every program is having certain scope. Correct. So you can see the class called test main starts with a bracket here and ends a bracket here. That is the scope of this class. Whatever is within the scope, right? This method, or if I can create another method, or if I can create a variable, public string name, right? Whatever I create, I will say give it a value name and it just says Sovic. Right? Whatever I am creating within this brackets is called as scope. This bracket is called as scope. And whatever I'm creating within the scope is called as members. So when I say these guys are class members, and this is the class, right? And these are the class members. It's a variable and this is a method. If I create a variable within this method, say string name, then this variable is local to this method only. This name cannot be accessed by any other method in the class. This is a private member of this method only, right? However, if I am defining a name variable or any variable at the top section of the class, then it is called as a global variable, and this global variable can be accessed then anywhere. So let me give it another name, named, right? And then to say sysout, and this is name. Do you see that? This variable is accessible because this is a global variable. I just make it a static. Okay. And you can see that it is a global variable, so I can access it anywhere, but it's a local variable. I cannot access this anywhere else. This is always possible because of this brackets. It defines the scope, what you can see, what you cannot see. It all depends on the scope. Make sense? Good stuff. Let's move on to the next part. I'll teach for another 8 minutes, and then I'll take a quick break for 5 minutes. I think you guys should also take a break. We'll come back and we'll continue. This is one class that we have in a week. So I want to give the best to you. So, you know, I think we should have some breather in between so that you can really enjoy this. All right. So let's move on to the next part, which is the packages. All right. What is package? Again, package is nothing but, you have seen already, core is a package, right? Let me show you something. What is packages actually? If I open this library section, you will see jar files. I told you that already. If you open this jar files, you can see the way the packages are designed. You see that? JavaX dot annotation dot processing. What does it mean? It means there are 3 packages, one within other. Basically 3 folders. So processing is under annotation, annotation is under JavaX. JavaX is the main one. You can see that? JavaX is the main one, and under that there are so many. What is annotation? One is lang tools, right? So under JavaX there are 3 folder: annotation, lang, and tools. Correct? So packages can be created with a dot operator if you want to create sub packages ideally. So if I want to create a sub package, say there is an error here, right? So let me just remove this. Okay. So if I want to create a sub package, how do I do that? Very simple. Say core new package, and you can see it is already giving me the name core, right? I'll say dot, and I'll say test, right? So code.test, test is a folder within core, finish, and you just create a test package within core. And if I just move this main2 to the core, then you will see that the test main2 package class is under the core test package. If you open this method class now, you can see the package name has changed to code.test, meaning this test main method, test main2 is under test package, test folder, which is under code folder. You want to see that? Show in System Explorer. src core test test1 right? That's the package. Nothing. They just have fancy names, right? Nothing. They are just simple directories. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. All right. So variables and constant. Okay. Before I go to variables and constant, I'll take a break. I'll come back and then we will talk more about variables, data types, and so many different things. Okay. I'll pause the recording here and then I'll come back in 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you so much. All right, so we are now going to take a look at what are variables and constants. Okay. In every programming language, you will find these terms: variables, constants. What is variables? Variables means that you are getting an option to store some information temporarily in a location. You're allocating some memory and you're storing some value within that memory, and you're giving a name to that memory so that you can access that memory in future. For example, you can see it here very clearly. I'm saying that is int number 10. What does it mean? It means that you're creating a variable, a temporary memory, and you're naming it as a number. You're defining it that you are supposed to store only integers in it, and you're giving a value to that memory. Now, by doing that, what happens is, in future, if you say, give me the value of a number, you get the value 10. It is variable because this number 10 can be replaced by another number, right? That is why it is a variable, correct? So constant on the other side is having another keyword attached to it, and it's called final. You can see final double. Double means you're basically trying to store decimal. So double, final double name, that is the name of the variable, name of the constant, and you're giving a value to it, 3.14. If you try to update the value of 3.14 to 3.16 or whatever, you will immediately get an error saying you cannot modify final members, correct? That is basically a variable and a constant. It's simple to test, nothing really complicated. For example, I just remove everything from here. I just say int number 10. By the way, you can give any name that you wish to. This is string argument args. Okay. And this is void. Okay. So int number equals 110. That's the value I am setting for this variable. And the name of the variable is number. You can give any name as you wish. And in later, if I want to call the value of number, I can just access that like so. And I can save the file and I can run the file, and you will see that it just prints out the value. I think I'm doing something wrong. Okay, it is in Java main 2. Let me run this guy, run as Java application. And you get the value as 110, correct? Simple variable. If I'm creating a constant, I just go final. And let's create another type of variable. I'll say final string. String meaning it can hold keywords or multiple characters together. So string, and say names, and just say Souvik. And then what I do is I go and I try to print it. Right? And I'll just say names, and I will be able to print it, no problem at all. As you know that run as Java application, it prints it, no problem. However, if I just go and say before the printing is done, if I say names equals to Hassan, I'm not allowed even to execute this, because while compilation, it gives me the error right there. Final local variable name cannot be assigned. It must be blank and not used using a compound assignment. It's very clearly telling me that final local variable cannot be assigned because you've already assigned it once. You cannot do it again. Whenever there is an error, don't panic, read it and try to make sense of it. I don't know how many of you guys have tried this new tool in the market. People are loving it. It's called ChatGPT. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of this AI tool that can create wonders. I mean, just not about coding and programming, but in general, it can just give you everything right there. Let's try to, I mean, why am I saying this? I don't generally do it, but why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I'm really thinking that I'll probably use ChatGPT to give you guys some, breather in terms of writing a particular program or a solution. The problem, the point is that this guy will write it for you, but then you need to really understand what he is doing, what it is doing. I wanted to use this tool. It's a free tool if anybody can use it, but I want to really use it for your own improvement. Don't, if I'm giving you an assignment, don't just copy the solution and give it to me. Rather, try to understand why the solution is being built. You first try to do it on your own. If you're not able to, then use ChatGPT and try to understand why the solution is coming. For example, I can say create a Java program to add multiple numbers in an array. Create a Java program to add multiple numbers in an array and return the value. Okay, let's see what this really does for us. Enter. Fantastic. What is it doing? It's a very simple, it gives you a little bit of explanation as well, but what exactly it did? Let's try to understand this. Okay, I want you to take an advantage of this because I want you to really succeed. You're coming to me, you're learning from me. I want you to get a job and after completing this training, like me other students did. And that will make the difference, right? In your situation. So try to use it for your own benefit. So look, very simple. A class it has created called ArraySum. You can create any class. Public static void main is a main method. I have shown that to you. String of arguments, I've shown this to you. And it is creating an array of numbers. Okay, I told you what is an array is. Array is basically an entity that can store multiple values. So you're saying int array, you're saying you're creating an array of numbers and you are adding the values into the array. That's how you can define an array. You can define an array in multiple ways. I mean, you need both the coaching, you need my coaching to understand the nitty-gritty of it, and you need ChatGPT support so that you can, you can basically get to the bottom of it without too much of research. Okay, when you try to do research on your own with the help of Stack Overflow and few other things, it gets really time consuming. With ChatGPT, things can be much more faster and to the point, right? So what it is saying, see this, it's saying that I have an array is having these 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, correct? And then it is creating another variable called int sum, correct? And then it is calling a method called calculate sum and passing these values, these array values inside this method. This method is another method which is a class member of the array sum. You can see this method is right here declared. Okay, calculate sum. Calculate sum is a method that accepts int of array numbers, and which is why you are supplying this to you, the same method. So you see what you did is this one more time. So you created an array of number, you're putting multiple values. You created a method called as calculate sum. This calculate sum method is the method which is actually calculating the summation of all these values, correct? This method accepts an array of integer, correct? I am using a loop, a for loop, for each loop, exactly like the way I showed you earlier. And I'm just saying sum plus equals to num, which means what? Which means this. Let me tell you what exactly happened. So sum, you see, it has created a variable called as int sum equals 0. So it has created a variable called as int sum equals to 0. Good. That is the base value of this variable 0. Okay. Now, within the loop, what it is doing is it is saying sum equals to sum plus num. Meaning what? Look here. So num is within the loop. In the loop, I am passing these values. I'm passing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When the loop iterates for the first time, the value of num is 1. To see this, it's very simple. The value of num is 1. When the loop is iterating for the first time, the value of num is equals to 1. The value of sum is equals to 0, because I have already set that value right here at the very beginning of the program. So I'm saying 0 plus 1 equals 1, and the value of 1 is now transferred into sum again. So now the value of sum is equals to 1, correct? Now the loop iterates to the next iteration. When that happens, then again, the same code will be executed. Sum equals to sum plus num. It will be executed. But in this situation, the value of sum is not 0 anymore because that has been already changed in the previous iteration. So the value of sum is 1 and the num value is 2. So basically 2 plus 1 is 3. So sum is now 3. Sum is now 3. Again, sum equals to sum plus num, right? And this is 3. This value is 3. And this value, sorry. This value is 3 and this value is 4. No, this value is 3 again, right? This was 2 earlier, so this is 3 now. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So and so forth. It has calculated the whole operation. It got the value. Now, ChatGPT has used some shortcuts that will be a little bit confusing. For example, this syntax over here sum equals plus equals to num, it means what? It means basically, if you destructure it, it means sum equals to sum plus num. That means that, basically. So obviously, I will require you to understand these syntax, but if you try to use ChatGPT, it's very simple to use ChatGPT ideally, right? You just go to just Google it, ChatGPT, and not like that. You have to just create an account, ChatGPT. Basically OpenAI, openai.com, right? If you go in here, OpenAI ChatGPT. I'm just trying to find out the login screen. Yeah, that's the login screen I did. You come in here, you say try ChatGPT, and they will ask you to enter your credentials, whatever, and then you basically come to the system, and then you can ask this to do anything you want, right? It is very, very efficient, and it's still growing, and people are using it crazily, and I want you to use it for your benefit. Do not try to use it like negatively. Don't try to get the output and give it to me saying that, hey, I'm done with the assignment. Try to understand what it is saying. It is giving you an explanation. It says, in this program, we defined an array called nums with 5 integers. We then call calculate sum method and pass the nums as an argument. It gives you a very, very clear understanding. I want you to use this. There's so many tools available, guys. And if you are really going to learn this the way I'm showing it to you, you don't have to turn back. Okay? Because once you step into this world of programming, you won't believe how many opportunities are just lying there. So keep that in mind, use it. And we have some assignments, right? We'll try to get an answer from the ChatGPT, and then we'll compare it what you have done. So good stuff. Let's move on to the next part. All right, so this is final. Okay, data types, right? Now you just saw me writing few things in the previous program. Int number equals 10, double pi, right, equals 3.14. What are these guys, right? Int and double, what are these guys? These are data types, meaning that whenever you're creating a variable or a constant, you are basically making sure that you are putting it under a particular category. That's how Java will understand what operations to be done. So when you're saying integer, you have to say it with int. When you're saying fraction, decimal, it is double. When you're saying character, it is saying char. That means you're working with single character, it's char. If you're working with multiple characters, then that's a string. If you're working with a true and a false, then that's Boolean. There are different types of data types, you see. Basically, there are 2 categories of data types. It's called primitive and a non-primitive. So primitive is what? When the programming language, Java programming language came into the market, or any programming language that come into the market, it basically comes with some default out-of-the-box data types that will let you store certain type of information, because if you don't store those information, you cannot work with it, right? So primitive data types are these guys: integer, decimal, character, and Boolean. You can see with an integer, just to store integer, there used to be like 4 different type of data types only to store numbers. Decimal, there are 2, floats and double. Character, there is only 1, char, and for Boolean is again 1. Question is, why do I have 4 different data types to store numbers? Why do I have that? I have that because when Java came into the world, memory was an expensive affair. Okay, right now everybody is having like 1 GB, 2 GB, sorry, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte of data everywhere lying around. But back then, this was never possible. They were working in a very, very conservative situation with memory, right? So what they came up with the situation is that we will be using the data type as and when we require for the relevant use case. So byte, short, int, long. Byte is basically the lowest entity to store number, which means that you cannot store anything, any value more than 128, right? It is minus 128 to plus 127. That's the maximum value that you can store with byte. For short, it is a little bit more. For int, it is more, and for long, it is even more, right? Depending on the use case, they were having data types to choose. For us right now, it doesn't matter. You can put everything inside int. Unless it's very big, then you can go for long, right? But if it's a normal number, salary, or whatever it is, then int is good enough to take care of it, right? If you want to hold those kind of information, you don't have to really think about to go for byte and short and everything, right? Float, same thing. Decimal numbers, a bigger one and a smaller one, correct? So you have the same thing there, float and decimal. Double can hold much higher fractional value than float. Character is one single character, so it is just the character. Say, you will say char, you will say the name of the variable. You have to always give the name of the variable. Say name equals within single quotes a. That's a character, it can hold one single character. And then there is another one called Boolean. So it's a Boolean status equals true, right? Right. So that is basically the primitive data types. And then we have non-primitive data types. Data types that has more power. That is something that is built on top of primitive data types. For example, string, integer with capital I, Boolean with capital B. These are non-primitive data types, and it has more power. For example, let's go and look at an example on this. So, for example, I have an integer, right? Or I have a string, and I give this value of this variable as a number or num, and I will say this as within quote, I will give the value as 10. You see that? So it's basically 10. That's within quotes. So basically, it is a string, correct? I want this to be considered as a number, not as a string, but as a number. And this is actually a very valid case. Why? Because we are trying to learn automation testing, right? From a web page, you have certain value, right? Some value is here in the web page. And in using Selenium, you're trying to extract this value. So that this value is around, I don't know, maybe 100,000, whatever, right? And you want to extract this value using Selenium WebDriver. When you do that, what happens? You are getting this value as a string value. You're not getting this value as a number value. For example, you want to do some calculation on top of it. How can you do that? Because it is getting back to you in a string format, correct? So if it is coming back to you in a string format, if you want to make some calculation on top of it, it has to be converted to an integer. So how can I do that? I can do something like this. Look, I can say, what is happening here? Okay, fine. Let me just remove this. Okay, and what I'll do is I will just say sys out. Okay, within the print out statement, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say num sorry, I'm going to say integer. Integer, look at the data type here. It is a non-primitive data type. Look, integer. This integer is basically data type, but it has got more powers like dot, okay, parse, dot parse int. Look at the extra power it has. It has this method called parse int, which can parse a string. And it can convert that to an actual integer. And I can prove that by saying plus 100 or 1000. You want to see what is happening. So this value 10 is getting converted to an actual integer. And then I'm doing an actual addition operation. And then if I run it, then I get the value as 1010. Just like that. Right? So basically, again, non-primitive data types are data types that are built on top of primitive data types, but these guys have extra power. With just int, this was never possible. I cannot convert a string to an int with a primitive data type. I cannot do that. Okay? So that's the beauty of non-primitive data type. All right. So let's move on to the next part. Again, I lost it. Here. Okay. All right. So data type tree structure, data type primitive, non-primitive. In primitive, you have Boolean, numeric, and then you have character, and then you have floating, and then you have integer, and so on and so forth. You can take a look into it. I have explained this in the video again, so that's fine. Then there is this chart to basically see the range of different data types, right? So this is byte, size is 8 bits. It can take a range from 128 to 127, as I said, right? Similarly for short, character, int, so on and so forth. So that's the end of class 2, ideally. So I have just completed 2 classes. Any questions? Any feedback? Am I going too slow? Or am I going too fast? Are you liking it or are you not liking it? Please let me know.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, of course.
Yeah, just in terms of assignments, etc. Do we have any for the next class or?
So Hassan, every class video that you have here, there is a Google Drive link. If you click on this, it takes you to the assignments. You click on the assignments and you get the assignments. Detailed assignments, how to, it talks about how to create the assignments and how to get to the solution, right? So every video is having that, right? So week 1, week 2, all the videos are having, there are around 250 assignments to complete, ideally, in this 4 to 5 months class. So a lot to do.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any other questions or feedback? Ellen, what do you think? You were having some doubts in the class earlier. I mean, I saw some messages.
Yeah, I was just at the beginning of creating the text file, but then I couldn't execute. I don't know what was the message on the I didn't understand the message which was there. So yeah, you said you were going to go through it in class.
True. So let me quickly take a look at the class here. This is the message that you got, right? It was saying that, wait a minute, it is saying, oops, it is basically saying that array index out of bound exception. What does it mean? It means that if you have in an array, if you have, say, 5 elements, and you are trying to access the 7th element or 6th element, then this array, this error is supposed to come. But then when I look at your code, which is this guy here, I'm not really understanding where are you accessing this? So the value that is here is, okay, Java hello. Okay, so the name of the class is hello, right?
Yeah.
And then QA and ln is the values, right?
And the value.
What
So
if you-
there was a point where I had to add more information to the statement which was there before. That's when I sort of like got that error.
Look, you can add n number of statements. There is no problem in that. The point
Yeah.
is that you have to access them with the indexes, correct? So if you are I'm just going to copy the same thing.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go to the Eclipse. And I'm just going to remove everything from here. And paste it, right? I have to just add another. Okay, that's all you have. Okay, you are
Yes, and then-
basically okay. So basically, there are two indexes. So you're saying ARGS1 and ARGS2. There are two indexes of this array. So in the array, when you're running the program, you need to basically say Java hello, or in this case it's test main2. And then you're going to pass two values. One is Sovic, one is ln, for example, right? And when you do that, then you are going to get these two values here, Sovic and ln, correct? And this will exactly work the way it is. Let me just show it to you what I mean. So I just saved this, and I'm going to pass two values to this array, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to say run configuration. Okay, under the run configuration of test main2, I'm going to go to arguments, and under program arguments, I'm going to say two different value as manual and QA, correct?
Yeah.
And then if I run, and you get the value manual QA, no exception at all. However, if I am trying to get a value like this, okay, there is one thing here that is wrong. This A0, argument 0 should be first, and then argument 1. Otherwise, you see it is coming as QA manual, right? Because this is the first index. So I will remove this here, and I'll paste it here. There is no gap in between, so I'm going to add another plus, and I'm going to add a quick space there, okay? And then I'm going to say, instead of saying ARGS1, I'm saying ARGS2, for example, if I'm saying that, okay? And then if I run this one more time, the same way, run configuration, arguments, manual QA, and run. And if I do that, that's where I see this. Look, array index out of bound exception, index 2 out of bound for length 2, right? Basically, it means what? It means that it's an array. We're trying to deal with an array here. So array means you can store multiple values under one entity, as I said. So this is an array. I have, for example, 3 spaces here. Okay. The first one is having index number 0, then it's 1, and then it's 2. Correct? Now in the first space, you are having a value, say manual, and then QA, and then ln. Something like that. Right? Now you are trying to say that give me the value. So maybe this array name is temp, correct? So give me the value of the temp array of index number 3, which is not even there, because you see, you have 3 indexes, 0, 1, and 2. The fourth index, which is the index number 3, is not even there. And if that's the case, that's where you get this exception called array index out of bound exception. You're
Right.
trying to access something that is not there within that space, which is why you're getting this
Oh.
array index out of the exception.
All
But
right.
if you're following the rule, which is keeping yourself within the index, so run configuration, and if you just say that I am trying to access manual and QA, and in the program itself as well, you're saying 0 and 1, not anything more, because you're just supplying 2 values, then there is no problem at all. Run configuration, run, and you get the value. Correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is basically the meaning of that exception, array index out of bound exception. Okay.
All right.
Good stuff. So
Thank you.
no problem. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions before I move on? We have some new guys here. For example, Dean. Any questions? Dean?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay with the explanations.
Mhm.
I'm not really good in automation, to be honest. With these two.
Nobody is here. Nobody is here. I
Oh,
mean, you should have come to the first class. That was the yesterday's class. Everybody is starting from 0. Every one of them.
right. Okay.
So don't feel
Well,
bad that you are not. I mean, you are getting started, and you are, you know, these are looking like a jargons.
Right.
For every one of us, that's the same thing.
Sure. But to be honest, I'm really enjoying the class. You know.
Okay, thank you. The point is, Dean, this will only make sense. I have told this 100 times to 100 students of mine. This will only make sense if you don't shut down your system after the class. And you say, hey, you know, I'm going to come to the class every week, show up in the class, and I'm going to learn this. This will never happen with any one of you. I can promise you that. If you are serious, I can get you to the next part. But if you're not serious, sorry, man. There was one guy who came up here last week. He today he said, I have to go out for something else.
Yeah.
I said, thank you. I'm not taking you in. If you're serious, you're welcome to my class. If you're not serious, then this will not work out, man. It's a waste of time for you and me. So please, if you really want to get into automation, give your 200%, whatever support you need, I'll get you that. But you have to be serious for next, it's a 5 months training. If you want to be serious, you have to be serious from today. Give me the 5 months. Every student of mine who comes to me, 90% get a job. 90% of them get a job. There is a lady here, what's her name? Amruta. Amruta, can you come online, please? She was in my previous batch. She didn't complete the training because you know, she already got a job in manual testing, and then because of personal reasons, she didn't complete the training. But she was in the first part of the training, and everyone from her batch got a job. She is joining me back again because she wants to complete the training. She I think she was in my 2022 batch, right, Amrita?
Yes, so that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So how much did you learn last time?
Well, to be honest, it was going very nice. Like I think for first 4 weeks of the class, like I was really learning a lot, especially with the videos and and if you do hands-on only, then only you will understand the concept more. That is very much true. If you just keep listening, then it's no use of this. I mean, just listening to the videos is of no use. But when you do hands-on, I was actually learning more. And then due to some personal reasons, I couldn't I couldn't listen to the videos. I couldn't do the assignments, and I had to drop off from the class. But now, since I see there are a lot of opportunities in automation, so that's why I thought I'll complete this training and, then restart.
You already started working for another company and I helped you with the CV and your CV got picked up, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then what happened to that? I didn't ask you.
Well, I initially the thing was I had I didn't put anything related to automation into my CV, and that's why my CV was not at all getting picked up. And then when I spoke with you, and then when I joined the classes, and I got some knowledge of automation, and then I put a few of the concepts of automation into my CV, and then suddenly my CV got picked up, and I had a call with Deloitte and then Explio, and they asked me, like, do you have exposure to automation? Then I said yes, but they didn't ask me any questions. And and I was put into manual testing, and still now I am into it. So
you're still with Explio, is it?
Yeah, I'm still with Explio.
Okay. Good stuff. Awesome. And I think I have another repeat student from the previous one of the batch, because Afi couldn't complete. Afi, could you please come online? What was how's your situation now? I didn't get time to talk to you. Afi, are you there? You're on mute if you're talking. No? Okay, I can't hear her. Anyways, so guys, that's what I'm saying. It is all about practice. Next 4 months, if you are putting that effort, then you go to the other side. If you're not, you stay in this side, period. There is no, it's like black and white. There is no ifs and buts to it, right? Ellen, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I've got so many friends who are not even working in the industry, but they want to get into software testing, and they haven't done the foundation,
you don't need to. You don't need to have any certification, zero certification. I am 15 years in this industry. I have zero certification in software testing. I don't need to.
So they will be able to, if they come through you, you'll be able to sort of like place them, even though they don't have the ISTQB.
They have to be serious, not like the other friend that you referred.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because he didn't show up. He just said, I'm busy, I'm out. Like yesterday, he pings me in LinkedIn saying that, Savik, I want to get a job in software testing, and I gave him peace of mind. And today he's saying I have to go out. I have some personal work. That is not how it works. I'm very straight and very practical on this. If you're serious, I can help. If you have any friends who are willing to come into software testing or software engineering background, I can help them, provided they are serious.
Yep.
Yeah. So
after after graduation, obviously, because you want to keep on work, because once you lose what you've learned, if you don't practice, you lose it. So sometimes on the job, you want to sort of like refer to something that you've learned before. So with this class, if you join, do we have access for live?
Oh, this access is for live access. There is no problem.
Okay,
this is for live access. All the YouTube videos, all the assignments, everything is accessible always. That is not a problem at all. And the point is that you will not actually forget anything, because if you actually start doing my assignments, and if you keep on following my lead the way I'm asking you to, you will not forget it. Because if you forget it, then you tell me, out of 90 students in 2 years, how did 82 people got a job? And they are just not only getting the job, they're sustaining in the market. They're working for 2 more years, 2 years since then. And they are getting promoted, and they are moving up. I'll show you one guy, and I was really happy to see him really doing well. If you get some time, please do go and see his review earlier. This guy name is called Arup, right? He was in one of my very old batch. So not very old, actually. He was in 2020 batch, I suppose. This guy, yeah, September 2020 batch, right? If you look into his profile, he, after completing the graduation with this training, he got a job in this company called as Black Box, okay, automation engineer, 2 years now. And thing is that 1 month back, he got promoted to automation test lead. He had 0 programming skills. If you don't believe, watch this video. And this is not only one example. There are hundreds of examples like this. The point is that it's doable. People are not taking the first step. They're thinking programming means rocket science. I have to work hard. Yes, you have to work hard. If you want to go to the next level, yes, you have to. If you're happy with the life you're having, then nothing to be done. But if you are trying to go to the next level, if you want to grow horizontally and vertically, then you have to. There is no option about it, right? So that's what I'm saying. It is doable, absolutely doable, but it's all up to you, whether you are willing to put in the hard work or not, right? So anyways, let's move on to the next part. So what I'm saying is the class 2 presentation, yeah, that was done. Okay. So the next thing is the operators. What is operators? Operators are basically the tool with which you can perform different kind of operations. There are different types of operators we have in Java. The first one is very basic. It's called arithmetic operator. Okay, you can perform arithmetical operations with it, right? So very simply, you can see them. You can watch the video, but you can very easily see them here. Plus, minus, divide, multiplication, and a percentage. The percentage is not basically a percentage, but it's called modulus. There's a difference between a divide and a modulus. Okay, so it's very easily you can understand this. Just go to the Eclipse, and what you do is you just say that int num a equals 10, okay, and int num b equals 5. Correct? Correct. Now I say sys out, and I say I want to divide num a by num b, right? When I do that, the result that I get is this. Run as Java application. The result that I get is this, 2. Everybody understand that, okay? Instead of divide, if I say it is modulus, the result that I get is 0. Why is that? Because you have 10 here, you have 5 here, you can divide this. 5 times 2 is 10. And 10 minus 10 is 0. So this guy is something that is coming up with the modulus operator. If I change the value of 10 by 9, then what will be the value? 5 times 1 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. So I get the value as 4. That's the modulus operator. Difference between these two. Correct? Okay, so moving on to the next part. Relational operators, a very, very important operator. You're trying to understand, or you're trying to judge a relationship between a left-hand side and a right-hand side of an operation. I believe every one of us has done this in our school. LHS equals to RHS. Left-hand side equals to right-hand side. This kind of problems we have done like 1,000 times so far in the class. So relational operator, what does it mean? You're trying to see if something on the left is equals to something on the right. For example, there are a few different types of relational operators that you can take a look at. It's called equals, that is double equal to, not equals, less than equal, greater than equal, greater than, and less than, right? And what is the output of them? Output is going to come back to you in a Boolean format, meaning this. So if I just say num A, is it equals to num B? I'm saying num A equals to num B. I'm saying num A equals to num B. But is it true? We can understand that by running the program. It's false, obviously. Num A is not equals to num B. If I say num A not equals to num B, the result that I get back is true. Yes, it is. Not equals to num B. Is it greater than equals to num B? Yes, it is. Is it less than? You get the idea. Correct? This is basically a relational operator. When you are trying to find a relationship between the left-hand side and the right-hand side, the result that you get back is in form of a Boolean. True or false, true or false. That's it. Correct? That's relational operator. Let's move on to the next part, which is logical operator. Okay? Logical operator, again, is another tool that can check multiple relations and then give you back with an output. Okay? I'm going to introduce a concept here called as debugging. Today is the first class of our tech discussion. And I can tell you something, guys, on the day one, that is, if you are not understanding how to debug a program, your career in programming is over. You have to understand what is debugging and how to do it. It is very easy to understand. You have to give some practice to it, but it is absolutely necessary. Debugging is a tool that will let you know that if there is any error, why the error is coming, when the error is coming, why the error is coming, and how the error is coming. It will give you a very good understanding of your program. You can execute your program in a step-by-step fashion, and you can see that data is being flown from one line to the other line. I'm going to give you an example of it. We will talk about it in more details later on. There are different ways you can do debugging, but I'm going to give you an understanding of debugging right now, along with logical operators, okay? So the idea is very simple. Idea is that I'm going to create a situation. I'm going to say int num_c equals, say, 10, right? Now, I'm also going to introduce another situation for you. It's called if-else. If-else is basically another tool that will check if a particular condition is true or false. If it is true, it will let you do some operation. If it is false, it will let you do some other operation. How do you write a if-else? It's something like this. It's very simple. It's if within a bracket, you add a bracket. You say if num A is greater than num B, right? Now you see what I did. I said if num A is greater than num B, right? If this condition is true, then, so what, how the program will work is like this, right? The Java will start executing the program from here to here, correct? From top to bottom. So when it executes, it first loads these variables in the memory, done. Once it's done with that, the next thing what it will do is it will come to this line, right? It will come to this line and it will say, if num A is greater than num B, it is checking if this condition is true or not. If it is true, obviously in this case it is true. If it is true, what it will do? It will come in the block, this particular block, where you have written something. For example, I'm writing sysout num A is greatest, correct? Else num B is greatest. Simple condition, num A and num B. I'm checking if num A is greatest or num B is greatest. Simple condition, correct? Now I'm going to clear this drawing and I'm going to show you something from a debugging perspective. Debugging means, as I said, you are having this tool to execute your program in a step-by-step manner. And just not that, you can at the same time at runtime, you can inspect what is actually happening within your execution. This is absolutely necessary for you to learn the skill, okay? How do you go to the debugging mode? It's very simple. You see this blue line in the left-hand side? Over here, you can double click to add something called breakpoint. So double click on the line number 12. I added a breakpoint here. You see that small dot? It's a breakpoint. It says line breakpoint, testment2, line number 12. Clearly says that, right? This is a breakpoint. And then I'm putting another breakpoint in line number 13, another breakpoint in line number 14. I will try to do it, but it will not let me do it because line number 14, there is just an else, keyword. In line number 14, you cannot really put in. You can only put the breakpoint when there is some values that you can work with, right? So in else, there is no value to work with, just a keyword. So you can not able to work with that. You cannot put a breakpoint there. But you can put a breakpoint line number 15. Okay. I'm coming to the logical operators in a while, but before that, let me just show you what debugging looks like. So meaning at this stage, I'm going to run this program in a debug mode. I ran it so far in the normal run mode, run as Java application. The result will be this: 9 is greatest. That's obvious, correct? But I want to run this in a debug mode. How can I do it? Firstly, add the breakpoints. You will put the breakpoints in the location where you want to learn more about that line, right? And then you just say debug as, instead of run as, you say debug as Java application. And when you do that, you stop your execution, rather you pause your execution in line number 12 because that's the first breakpoint it hits. Okay, so when it hits a breakpoint, it doesn't mean that this line is executed already. No, it is about to be executed. It is still waiting, line number 12. So right at this stage, I'm hovering my mouse on these variables. You see, runtime, you see the value is loaded into the memory. 9, B is 5, and C is 10. These three values are loaded runtime, and you can see that. You can see that only in the debug mode. You cannot do it in the runtime mode, right? And then line number 12, you're paused, and you're basically trying to understand if this is going to be greater than or less than. By looking at this, obviously, you know that 9 is more than 5. So you see how it will work, right? So line number 11, 12 is getting executed. How do you make it get executed in the debug mode? You have this option here. You see that? Step over. You see? Or you can hit F6 on your keyboard. If you hit this, do you see? From line number 12, it comes to line number 13. Why? Because line number 12 gave a true response. So within the if block, when you have a true response, it takes you to the subsequent block that is built for the if section, and you execute this line. So you run this again. Now look what happens. You run this block. It comes to the else part. Okay, in the else part, it's checking if there is any other condition. It's not, and it exits. That's it. It exits to the last block. So it will never call this guy. That is exactly how, in a fraction of a second, this entire operation happens when you hit the run button. Right? And then you basically you can just complete the execution, and that is done. 9 is greatest. Okay. Now this entire thing I want to show you from a different angle, and this is called as logical operators angle. Why am I getting this angle? Because you see, I have 3 numbers here. My motive is to understand which number is the biggest number. With this particular strategy, I can only evaluate 2 numbers. I cannot evaluate more than 2 numbers. What can I do? I can use logical operators, meaning what? Meaning I can say if num A is greater than num B and meaning double ampersand and num, I'm just separating them out in a different brackets so that it is readable, properly readable, and num A is also greater than num C, then I can say num A is greatest, correct? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Again, I'm saying else if, this is called a nested if-else block. So you have first if, and then you have else, and then here again, you can start another if section, and you can say if, 1 minute. Let me copy this. If num B is greater than num A and num B is greater than num C, num C, then num B is greatest, correct? Or else there is only one condition left. I don't really have to say it in this way. I can directly say if none of them are greatest, then obviously num C is greatest, correct? Simple. Why did I wanted to show you this? I wanted to show you the actual magic of AND operators. And I will show you in this format. I'm going to break it down into multi-line. And I'm going to evaluate this step by step. Right? So what do I mean by that? So what I'll do here is that I'm going to put breakpoints. Line number 12, I already have a breakpoint. Line number 14, I'm going to put a breakpoint again. Line number 16, I'm going to put a breakpoint. Line number 17, I'm going to put a break. 18, I'm going to put a breakpoint, and line number 21. All the places where the actual evaluations are happening, I'm putting a breakpoint, okay? So I wanted to really understand what exactly this AND means. And you will understand that by going through the breakpoint, like how Java is actually making it work. If I debug this, one minute, my mouse is not working, really? I think battery is gone. Yeah, battery is gone. Perfect. Very bad timing. Okay, anyway, I'll try something else. So just a minute. Okay, so look, what is happening here is that I want to show you that how this AND is actually working. So I'm going to run this in a debug mode, correct? Testman 2. Okay. Right? Line number 12, it checks, it comes here. So it is checking number A is greater than number B, correct? It is checking number A is greater than number B. So it first checks that value. Is it true? Yes, it is true. If it's true, then it will go to the next block and check the other section. Other condition. Look, it comes to the next section and checks whether num A is greater than num C or not. They are both true or not. Obviously, here in this case, num A is not greater than num C, which is why it will shift to line number 16. Look. Line number 16. Correct? Now it's checking num B, is it greater than num A? Right? It is not. Num B is not greater than num A. Correct? So now you see, it will not even check the line number 18 because it doesn't make sense. Right? If both the conditions are true, meaning if this condition is true and this condition is true, only then it makes sense to print the value. But if the first condition itself is false, then there is no point in even checking the second condition. So you will see from line number 16, it will jump to line number 21 right there. Look. And that's what I was talking about. If you don't debug, you don't understand how it works. Correct? Now you see, if I just change the whole game by saying that instead of making them and, I'm saying I'm going to make them or meaning you have to add this pipe signs like this, pipe, correct? I'm going to add them or, correct? Now you see how this works. It works in a different way now. So obviously by adding pipe sign, I will not be able to really get the greatest number among 3, right? That is not my intention here. My intention here is to basically give you the understanding, the difference between and or operator, right? So here you see what happens. Here it says num A. Here it says num A greater than num B, correct? That's the only thing. Here it checks num A greater than num B. This is true, correct? Let me run this. The first condition is absolutely true. If it is true, then because it is an OR operator, either of them, if they are true, then it will execute the program. So basically, in this situation, num is greater than num A is greater than num B, so it will directly come to line number 15 and execute that, even though it doesn't make sense, right? Because out of those 3, 10 is the highest, not 9, but it is telling you that because you have used the wrong operator. But my intention is to show the difference between an AND operator and OR operator. In AND operator, it checks both the value. If the first value is true, it checks the second value to make sure that it's true or not. If it is true, only then it comes and execute whatever is in the block. If the first value is false, it will not even check the second value. Correct? And in this case with the OR, as soon as it saw the first value is true, it is not bothered to check anything else. It is directly printing the value for you, right? That's the difference. So if you come in here, it comes out of the else block. So this is the difference between your AND operator and OR operator. Okay, there are a few more operators, guys. Prefix, postfix, assignments, and ternary operator. You saw this operator today in the ChatGPT, plus equals to, right? You have seen that operator there. So I will actually cover this part. There are a few more things to cover as a part of part 1 or the class 1. So do not hurry. I mean, I don't hurry with my students. I go as slow as is possible, which is why the course is 5 months course, is a 4 to 5 months course. So there are a few things to cover up for this week. I've covered till week number 1. I've covered till, for example, data types, operators. Operators I've not covered. I have to speak about operators more, arrays, and loops, something that I will be covering in the next week. I will enable all the videos for all 16 weeks to you in today's class, after today's class, which you can take a look at. But in the next week, I will first finish these 2 videos, and then I will talk about week number 2 classes. Okay, every video has assignments. Please try to complete that, and please try to upload that in the folder. I've given the folder to you already. I'll give it to you again. There is an email that I have sent to you on the day 1. So in that, there is a folder already. Let me actually pull this email for you so that you can see it. Just a minute. I think this is the one, right? This is the email that I have sent to you. I will send it to some of the others. I've sent it to, I don't know, whom did I send this to? Preeti. Okay, I've sent this to, I think, Dean and Hassan. I'll do that. And in this, there is a Google Drive link, right? You have to click on that to join the Google Drive link, upload the assignment here. Okay, I'm saying only Christy has added the assignments, right? Guys, be serious. From day 1, I'm telling you, be serious. Add the assignments, right? So there are rules to upload for uploading the assignments, which I've mentioned here, given you a detailed understanding how to do it. So yeah.
Sorry, how do we get that file?
How do you what?
How do we get the roadmap that you just shown us now to do the assignment?
This is the application that we have, wisdomqa.com. You have created the account. In the account, you go and you log in, and then you come to the dashboard where you see the videos and the roadmaps and everything.
Okay. Okay.
Right. The thing is that if you, I'm sending this email to you after this class. If you go to this email and if you look at this section here, and you can see this section called this file called summary class.
Summary session. Okay.
If you open this up, then there is a video inside it, right?
Yeah.
If you watch that video, the end section of the video mostly, if you see that video, you will be able to see that I have added all the rules, how to use the application properly.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hassan, as you have joined today, it is the same thing for you. I'm going to send you the email. Please take some time to read that email and get it going. Learn, week number 2 Try to complete the assignments, and please be active in the Slack. I'm just getting questions asked by Ellen. I think every one of you are here because you want to learn something, and without collaboration, I don't think anybody will be benefited. So please come to the Slack channel, ask questions. That is, channel is created for you only. So please use the facility which is there. I would like to understand from Kathy. Did you get some time to work on week number 1?
Yeah, I tried to do some assignments, so I'm still working on it.
And have you watched the videos?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I watched the video, the one
Mhm.
you uploaded, but I haven't watched the, the kickoff video, how to upload.
No, kickoff video was not required. That's fine. You were already in the class, but at least the class videos, have you watched them?
Yes, I watched them. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sai, what about you?
Yes, hi Sovik. I watched the videos, and in the start it was a bit tough because it's been long time into coding. So I was trying to get into that and watching more than usual time, watching twice and trying to understand what it is actually. And I'm trying to do assignments, but still I'm taking some time. I need to put more effort on that. I realized that. So I'll be working on it.
After today's class, you should have got your
Yes.
answers, right?
Yes. Even when I got stuck, I'm just searching for that and I'm trying to figure it out on the spot. So yeah,
Instead of trying, that's what my question is. If you are trying on your own, then I will not know that you are stuck. When you're trying, you try in the Slack channel. You come to me and you ask me the question, and then I will reply back to you. Right?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that from now. When I got stuck, immediately I will just extend that. And
yeah, the way you do it is you take a snapshot of your code and snapshot of your error, and you send it to me, and then I will take a look into it, and I will let you know what's the problem.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
I'll do that. Yes.
Very good. Okay. Let's go to Christy. Christy, how about you? Can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Some problem with your mic.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear now. Yeah, go on.
Okay, yeah. I was saying that yeah, I am enjoying the course and I'm following along with the course. I am understanding as well. I did make an attempt at the assignment, and I was able to get some of it, but there's questions that are a bit tough to understand, and I sort of have to break them down.
Can you tell me which assignment was that you really didn't get a hang of?
I think the one about calculating the perimeter of a circle or something like that. A few of those complicated ones. Yeah.
Print the area of circle, correct?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what our friend ChatGPT has to say about it.
Okay.
It is a very simple program, and let me help you understand what exactly the output will be. So here, okay, in Java, and you can, from today onwards, as I have shown you how to use ChatGPT, you can probably use it and get your answers. So let's okay. So what exactly is doing? That's it. So listen, what it did is it just added few more stuff to the actual problem. So again, public class, and then there's a main method, and then added another utility called the scanner. What is scanner? Scanner will let you interact with the console. So from the console, you can put some value into the program. So the scanner will basically, you see, input dot next double, right? So basically you can say whatever the value you're trying to enter, correct? So from the console you can do that, And then all you're doing is math.py, which, what is that? Math.py is nothing but math is a class which is already present in the Java library. .py is basically the constant value of a pi. Pi means what? 3.14, right? That's the value. Multiplied by your radius times radius, correct? And that's the area. And the perimeter is 2 times mathpi dot radius. So this values, this formula is something that can be found anywhere. It's the same circle and perimeter formula that we have used since our childhood. Same exact formula. The way you do it is like this. You are just saying math.py by getting 3.14, that is the constant value. You're multiplying r into r, radius into radius, and then you're saying 2 times math.py into 2 pi r, right? That's it.
Okay, thank you.
That's how you will get this value. So if I just quickly run this program, I'll do one thing. I'll just quickly copy the whole piece, right? And I'll go to the here, okay, and then I will quickly go to the main method, and I'm going to okay, I don't need the main, I don't need, okay, the scanner is not there, so which is why you have to, so the scanner, look, this is the thing you have to understand. So this scanner is not there as a part of this particular class. So it is an additional entity which you have to add. This is already a part of Java, but you have to add it as a part of this class. And that process is called as importing. So when you see an error and if you just hover on top of it, it says import scanner, right? So if you do that, you see, you will add an import statement. Import Java util scanner. So scanner is a part of Java util, but you just added it here, correct? And once you are done with that, so the error is gone. And then when I run this program, let me just save this. If I save this, and then when I save this and when I run this, test main, error exists where? Where is the error? Okay, because there's an extra bracket. So let's run this again. Okay, it says enter the radius of the circle. It is waiting for you so that you can enter a value. So I'm just saying 5, right? On the console. That is the scanner is doing. Okay?
Yeah.
And then if I hit enter, then it gives me these two value. The area of the circle is 78.53 and the perimeter is this. Make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you. Thanks for breaking it down.
No problem.
The other thing as well was, I know you said you're going to talk about this more in another lesson, maybe the lesson that you're going to be teaching us about objects and methods, but it's about the main method. So I understand the...
No. We are going to object and methods. Okay, that's what I said. I'm going to enable all the videos to you so that you can actually see it, right? Because there's so many things to learn. Where did I go? Somewhere. Okay. So as I said, if you go to the wisdomqa.com, everything is there, object and methods. But obviously, I can't start object and methods on the day one. Which is why I'm just talking about basics today. Slowly we will get there. Don't worry, there are so many things which you have to learn. So let me go on here. You can see in the week number 2, we're starting with objects and methods. You see that? All these videos are here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will go there. We'll go there. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks.
No problem at all. No problem. So that's it, guys. That's it for this week. Again, I'm saying, please go back to work. Probably take some break today, start tomorrow morning. I will enable all the videos take a look into it, and learn along with everyone. And let me help you get there. Okay. And I'm available on Slack. Please ping me. Rebecca, you have a question? Please go on.
No, I'm fine. I'm just saying, you asked the question earlier on that we should give you feedback or review. So I just said, for me personally, since I don't have any background in computing, it's challenging for me to catch up with you with your speed. So that's what I just want to say.
That's fine. You have to take a little bit more time to it. There are two options, Rebecca. Either you do not try at all, or you try slowly, but you try. If you say, this is not happening with me, so I'll just, do something else.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you asked us for feedback earlier on, so I was just trying to point on the feedback. Yes, I've watched the videos, all the videos for the week one, and I started working on the assignments. So I'm going to continue. I'm just saying for today's class, and it's a bit too fast for me. That's all. Okay. But if you have watched those videos in the week number 1, then these things were already covered. What I'm doing today is it was just a revision. So which is why, Rebecca, and for everybody else, when you are watching the video, don't watch the video for sake of watching it, but rather please take notes that you want to clarify in the class. Take a pen and paper, write a note, 1-liner, 2-liner, and then you come to the class and ask the questions, or you ask me in the Slack channel, and then let's discuss in the call. Let's make it an interactive session so that you can get some output out of this. Otherwise, if I just keep on talking on my own, then you may feel that I'm fast. Yes, it is, because I do it every day. I live and breathe on this, right? Yeah. So the point is that if you have some questions, or if you have some pointers to talk about, then I can give you the answer. Like, Christy did. She was having a problem with the assignments. I took some time. I gave a breakdown approach, and she's happy with the answer. So similarly, if you can start putting them in a note, then it'll be easier for me. That works. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining the class today. I will see you next week, every one of you. And then please ping me in Slack if you have anything to discuss, okay? And happy learning.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.